It is a snowed out, snowy, beautiful Monday. This is episode 5. Welcome all who are guided here. I have Charismatic Candy with me today, our accountability coach here at Opening Doors, one of them, openingdoorsproductions.com. I'm a hypnotherapist practitioner, and if you don't understand what hypnotherapy is, how it helps, you can check out our website, openingdoorsproductions.com. Charismatic Candy, would you love to say hello to everyone watching?
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It's a great day to start a new week, start a new role, getting going in the positive direction. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Candy, Charismatic Candy. So, we have 0 questions that were submitted this week. So, we're going to go ahead and both of us go what's guided through our heart. The first thing that I will bring up today, as I've had some beautiful souls getting a hold of me and asking what ascension symptoms are, and or is this 5G, or what is going on? Everything's so crazy. And I'm going to tell you it's both. So we're here in the 3D plane of existence here. Duality is what has been the distortion that we are working through or breaking through. And so you're going to hear me speak a lot about the paradox and how to be able to sit in it, to be able to break through that you believe in the illusion of what you've decided to kind of choose, of what you're feeling into. And so one of the greatest things love consciousness has spoke to us is that you will experience everything all at the same time. And breaking through it, or taking that of what you think is of the opposing and getting to the meet point is where 0 point meets. And that's where the choice comes in and the breakthrough can happen, where we have transmutation. So right now, with the amount of CMEs coming off the sun, the coronal mass ejections, we have tons and tons and tons and tons of light codes that are coming into everywhere here on beautiful Earth, Gaia, Sophia, whatever you, our beautiful blue orb, whatever you want to call it, and into every living inhabitant here. And this is part of us moving into the 5th dimensional or 4th density realm. So many people have been experiencing lots of headaches, nausea, dizziness, blurred vision, lots of ringing in the ears, thirst that is unquenchable no matter how much water you drink, having to go to the bathroom lots, or even though you're drinking a ton of water, you're barely going to the bathroom. And a client and a friend this morning asking me on Messenger, oh my God, am I ever getting dry mouth? And it's almost like I'm pre-diabetic. What is going on? And so when you understand that we chose to come here in this time, each and every one of you that is here on this plane of existence, right here, right now, came for the grandest event that is taking place here. Not only because many of us have ascended time and time and time and time again. We are masters at it, and we go through the whole process just to play in the circle of life again. But this time, Gaia, beautiful blue orb, decided she wanted to keep all her inhabitants with her through this whole process, which has never ever happened, of a 3D avatar body to be able to become 5D with still remaining as the identity or the vessel that you are, albeit it is going to change in form but not be lost into the 5D where the avatar would be dissolved. So right now what we consider ourselves as a carbon body, and what's happening is it's changing to the silicon or the crystalline body. When you understand that trace minerals, silica being one of them, All of them is a part of everything that is. When you understand or understand that this physical body is going through what I'm going to explain to you, compression breakthrough, it is thinking of carbon or coal with deep, deep impaction or compaction. And what ends up happening with that piece of coal turns into a diamond. And so the amount of pressure that you're feeling, the amount of distorted light that needs to come up to finally become whole because of the distorted illusion that is laid within our mental, emotional, physical, etheric planes, even that have held you in enslavement, in a low vibrational, dense, third density mass and matter. And it is the densest level of existence. And so that compression to break through in order to become the lighter body or the higher vibration, everything that is in your distorted illusions that is captured within your cell memory has to come up to become whole again, because the paradox is whole unwhole. When you know on a soul level, it knows it is complete, whole, and perfect. It is one with all of consciousness, which is the master creation of all that you are. So when you understand or understand that only the mental started to believe that it was or had the distorted illusion that it bought into, that it believed it wasn't whole, all the years of indoctrination that have kept you in a sleepy pattern or amnesia state, because they knew the easiest way that they could create what they want, because they know that all creation is through consciousness, was to be able to manipulate those consciousness in repetition using tactics that would make it feel like danger, or to put you into that false illusion of fear, bullying, warmongering, all of these old, dark, low energy levels that have been completely, continually playing in the consciousness. Now, the greatest thing that has happened with the amount of beautiful love, light, energies coming through our sun, through our whole solar system, that are awakening everything, because we are heightening in our elevation or our level of awareness, awakeness, as in remembering who you are. And so, of course, it comes with it physical symptoms, absolutely. Emotional symptoms, absolutely. Mental symptoms, absolutely, because the four lower bodies need to become the breakthrough together. So, nausea for some, major body aches, lots of spinal stuff going on, because this is the neural network going up and down your spine that is coming through. The opposing that's happening is 5G on purpose, because as much dark, there is that much light. And that's the paradox again. And that is why you see 5G towers absolutely everywhere you are. And they literally are putting them up overnight. You don't see them being made during the day. It's kind of a weird, gross, disgusting thing. And so knowing what is radiation and understanding it's like a microwave set of networks that are bouncing off each other. And 5G is very, very low. It is a very low, and that's why a lot of the 5G towers you see, most of them are quite low compared to any other towers, because they're trying to hit and create a certain level or dimensional plane to keep mass and matter in this dense place. This is disgusting. Yes, it is. And it's been happening. And I'm hoping many of you wake up to realize the effects that you're feeling. So if you do any research to find out what 5G radiation symptoms are, you'll see flu-like, You will see loss of appetite, lethargy, blurred vision, ringing in the ears, dizziness, massive headaches. One of the biggest things that happens from radiation is thrombosis, blood clots, or little burns, scar tissue in the lungs. This is happening on a big level, and this is why many of the medical systems were using ventilators, which was what was actually killing the patient, because thrombosis, when a ventilator is added to it, it implodes the lung. And so one of the greatest things that's starting to happen is certain hospitals are refusing to use ventilators, and they put their patients in for CAT scans first and see that there are blood clots. And the moment they know that is, they know that ventilator cannot be used. Oxygen they're giving them, and giving them anticoagulant or blood thinner so that those blood clots dissipate. But what I want to talk to you today about is what you can add into your daily regimen. No different if there has been radiation damage in areas. The military will hand out iodine tablets because iodine naturally eradicates radiation damages. So naturally taking iodine, and that's another one of the broken mind traps that happened within our systems, that took everything pure, whole, and good for you and completely pasteurized it, or changed it, or took the goodness out of it so that it would deplete you. Iodine is very essential. That is why there is so much thyroid issues going on. And so naturally, depending on what kind of iodine tincture that you look for, depending on what the recommended guide is that you're saying, we're going to tell you you're going to need to increase that, because the level of radiation that is coming off of absolutely everything is unbelievable right now. And so Soleil water is another one that is a great thing to talk about. The depletion that's happening from the body, no matter how much water you drink, it will not fulfill it, because your body is using its own mineral content because it's trying to completely transform. So Soleil water is, what I have a glass pickle jar, but it's a glass lid because metal will rust. And you fill pink Himalayan salt almost to halfway in that jar. Then you're going to add water, pure water to it. No distilled water, because distilled water is the depletion of everything out of the goodness of all that water. When you understand water in its wholest form is salt water. If you drink distilled water, which tons of people in what I call the false awakened communities have been drinking, distilled water will pull everything from your body to become whole. It will deplete you from every mineral in your body so it can become mineralized again. So if you have spring water, fantastic. We use alkaline water, which is basically spring water. When you test spring water, it has its mineral content to it. It has been the least amount distorted or played with. Only the broken mind traps will have you believing that nature is not whole. That is the false timeline of distorted light. Why do you think every prescription drug out there has been completely altered? Because number one, they cannot make a patent or make money off of a whole herb or derivative. So they take pieces from it and create their pharmaceuticals that are missing the wholeness of everything that was needed in that original state. And it's no different than what they've done with water. Water in its purest form is salt water. We cannot drink that water. But where are our natural lakes, rivers, streams that come from mountains, that flow through our earth through our minerals that become that whole connection of everything that is. That's what it is. So, Soleil water, when you take 1 tablespoon into a glass of water every morning, some are doing it morning and night, are refulfilling your mineral trace mineral levels, at least 86 trace minerals. And so that will help you from that dry mouth or that feeling of not being able to feel hydrated enough. That is why a lot of people are using electrolytes in their water as well. Cucumber, orange, lemon, whatever it is, mint, have fun with your water. But it helps to keep that electrolyte value up. The amount of energy that's happening through your body right now to be able to integrate all these energies is intense. You'll have moments of complete exhaustion, and you need to trust and listen to your body. The first sign that your physical body tells you when it is in distress is it becomes tired, because it needs to send all its energy focused to that one area or areas for healing. So with the 5G and the 5D energies coming in, of what you believe is this paradox of these energies, it is both. Do you need to know what they are? Or do you need to know what the body, mind, spirit needs? The more stillness, the more quiet you are in contemplation, feeling in your heart, your team's going to guide you. They're going to guide you, and you're going to have something come through. It's called synchronicity. It's divinity. Everything's happening on purpose. You'll suddenly hear someone talking about this, or hearing me talk about this right now, and you're going to take what you need, leave the rest behind, because that is your level of awareness of what you decide for you or not. Because only your perception is going to decide what is true for you and not. And there is no wrong answer, just the journey. And so the ego part of all this that goes into play is the one that's constantly going to create the problem, so it can find or create the solution to pat itself on the back. The more we go in the flow, we know that there's opposing views of everything. When we stay in the centeredness, the stability, the groundedness, which is the most important, to be able to bring things in and sit in it, we move from there. We decide from there. So anything that you're feeling that is odd, heart palpitations especially happening to many, and that's because we are expanding the heart center. So when we understand or understand our chakra or seal system of our 7 chakras or 7 seals, when we understand that through our evolution of going from first density into second density, which was the first density about being the roots. This is about the groundedness, the stability, being the element of everything here. And we eventually evolve going into the second density experience. The second density being around building relationships with everything, creating families and communities, and what is our relationship to everything within us that we play intangibly play through. Our second density experience will be plants, animals, birds, micro and macro organisms, and then we evolve through that into the third chakra, which is where we had been right here, third density form in the human expression, and that is the densest mass and matter. And through that, through all the different levels and octaves that we play within third density, which many are here having experiences that are brand new into the third density realm, that have graduated out of second density, and they have only had a few hundred of their lifetimes per se. Some of you have had thousands upon thousands of lifetimes in the 3D, which is in the octave where you're ready for something new. And right now, whether people admit it or not, they have symptoms going on. And people are using the 3D world to say, oh, well, it's just this, it's just this, it's just this. Everything is happening on purpose. So, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to self medicate it? Or are you going to listen to what your body needs? And especially get outside in nature and ground, because you are one with everything and it happens very quickly for you. Drinking and speaking into your water, resting, being kind and gentle to yourself, allowing all that baggage to come up, because many of you right now are feeling a lot of turmoil, that inner turmoil, and you'll have bouts of it, and then it breaks through. And the only way you have the breakthrough is not because you've decided to live in it again, because it's not anything other than recreate a brand new memory for you every time, because you only live it once, and then it's either an imagination or a memory that you relive, and you bring it back into your DNA to relive and relive again and gain power. So when you feel that anxiousness coming up, that nervousness coming up, that overwhelm, that chaos, that anger, the sadness, that despair that you're feeling, sit in it. Allow it. Allow it by surrendering, or surrender and allow it, so that it can finally leave the body system. Because again, everything that you experienced, that you reacted with an emotion with, and did not know how to process it, or have been taught through broken mind traps that you needed to suppress it or own it, because you think you can own emotions, and it's stored somewhere within your physical body, in your mental and emotional planes. That is the ascension symptoms you're feeling on a massive scale right now, because this is that anger that has stayed stored, most of it in your liver and kidneys, and in certain areas of your joints, depending on what you were doing at the time when you started experiencing it. This will be what happens. This is what's going on with you. We are moving into the fifth dimension, which is fourth density, which is the heart chakra, which is all about love of self, love of others. And the distortion there that has kept many people asleep still in is that they need to be love of others or service to others, forgetting about being service to self first. There are two paths in which people are playing on, and the one that they've tried to host and keep people in, which they call the negative or the positive ray, is service to self, power over others, service to self, service to others. Either way, the most important part that most of everybody has not understood or understood was love of self. In order to be of service to anyone else, you have to first love yourself on a level like no other, or all you're doing is mirroring out to everybody your level. Anything done through obligation is one of the biggest swear words I'll tell people. That is the obligation. Because the moment you feel an obligation to do something for someone else, resentment becomes an inner feeling that you start to feel. When you love yourself so wholly and fully and realize the self as self, and you realize that every one of you around you is the self in expression, they are part of who you are. They're one of the consciousness. You can't help but want to love everyone else, because you're in this together. You're wanting to build up, love up, support only because you've been building up, loving up, and supporting you. If not, you're doing it with a low energy attachment to it. If you do not love yourself, if you don't know how to love yourself, you do not know how to love others. You can believe you do, but it is missing something. And that mirrors back time and time and time again to you. I'll use that for an example. So you have someone that only knows to give, 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 and not receive anything back because the energy that they have of what is around what love is to them is actually what love is not. So they will give, 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 and no one will ever give anything back to them. Because guess what? That's what you've been sending out as that radar. And the mirror comes back to you exactly where you are. Why do so many of you believe you need to give and empty your cup and not believe in making sure that that cup stays filled so full all the time that it can't help but just continually spill out to others? And every one of you have obligation because you believe everyone else is more important than you instead of remembering the master of who you are, in the image of God that you are, in the image of creator that you are, or source that you are. And this is what we are playing with in now and having to sit in. So this, all of these years upon years and ancestral, genetically modified, broken mind traps that have been within your real natural attributes, your cell memory coming back over and over and over again that keeps being mirrored to you, is where you're here to break through right now, to be able to get into the fourth density experience of love of self, love of others, service to self, service to others. And so that's why you're feeling that pressure that I'm talking about, that compression breakthrough. That is what you're feeling in the most intense ways, where it's waves upon waves, and it'll be the same kind of thing coming at you by many, many different faces or events. Because, like the mind, when it is stored, it is not linear. That is the third density perception, which is in the left brain, believing in logic, that there has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it has to be linear, like a timeline. But when you understand from right brain, it is shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object. No different than when you first saw a record on a record player and saw a slow line moving around playing in your record. And then CDs came out and it was projected no different than in a computer programming system where it's all over the place. And it builds up its speed, even though it's circular, even though it's going through its things, it builds up from the next time it comes from wherever it was traced in that magical moment, and it comes back around for you to view again. What we call them runners. And it builds up momentum every time you don't deal with it, every time you try to hide it, every time you want to be lying to yourself about it, or in the place of not wanting to deal with it. And you're going to have to sit in it at some point. So every time it rears itself to you, it's not wanting you to relive it. It wants you to see it. Hello, this is a part of me. This is a hidden aspect of me I've been hiding, that has been hiding in the shadows, either scared to be seen because it was embarrassed or traumatized or has been captured in a false sense of fear. And it's going to build up because eventually that little part of you that's been hidden is going to start getting angrier or stronger because it realizes it's not being noticed. So like the 2-year-old having the temper tantrum, not getting its own way, it will create a negative situation to get what it wants, or it will be strong enough to say, hey, hello. And so that's what's going on right now for many of you, where you feel that you're doing so good and then bam, you're being hit with these energies out of nowhere. I'm not going to go into depth into that today. We'll take that on another one. But where I want you to focus upon is allowing yourself to process, to sit in it. You don't need to know why. You just need to feel it. You don't need to have the P mind deciding to create a problem around it or a blame game on someone else for it or on yourself. It's being gentle and kind and just allowing it to finally come through. The amount of tears people feel in a place of joy because of surrender happens and is happening for so many people right now. And it makes my heart sing to, oh my gosh, to infinity, to watch people who have not believed in crying because they were trying to protect themselves, only to realize they've been hurting themselves because all that sadness and that loss is bouncing around in your body and doesn't know what to do with itself. And it just wanted to be felt. Emotions are just supposed to be felt, they move through you. They're not supposed to be owned because you can't own them. So you've been trapping them in your body, and of course you don't feel good. You don't want to be sitting in crap. You want to be flying high, and that's where your natural state is. So, Candy, charismatic Candy, would you like to weigh in on any symptoms that you've been experiencing?
Wow, I've actually experienced quite a bit. There has been the nausea, or nausea, I guess is what it's called, heart palpitations, and just the pain in the heart that it does. It's almost when you go inside, I can feel my heart expanding just that little bit at a time. Um, my goodness, the headaches, the migraines that are coming with like the whiteout around the outside of the eyes when trying to look. Yeah, it's been quite the journey. So I'm sure if I could ask you, Tracy, because maybe some of our viewers are wondering as well, is there something in the moment when you're having one of these ascension symptoms that could instantly ground us?
So there's not one thing that you can do because it has to do with your level of perception. If it's something new to you and you've never done it before, it will feel foreign. But at the end of the day, the greatest thing that I would suggest everyone to do is to get into the observer mode through breathing. So instead of getting caught up in reaction mode that we've talked about from the reptilian part of the brain, which is all about fight, flight, or freeze, center yourself back into observing the situation. What's going on here? What am I actually feeling? And only way that happens is through breathing. The greatest thing, invention that was created by man is a toilet room. And most people can get away whether you're at work, wherever you are, if you feel that you cannot ground yourself or center yourself to feel that stability, is to get into the bathroom and sit. Number one, you just naturally start breathing when you're releasing. Number two, that release is helping, but you can get there, close your eyes, just start deep breathing. I myself have learned to cocoon with full frequency love, light, light, love, knowing it knows exactly what to do. And what that means is it's getting me out of the way, knowing that divinely, the highest self aspect of all that I am, already knows. It already knows what's going on. It's not in the 3D illusion, it is in the full reality of wholeness. And so I'll cocoon my body with full frequency love, light, light, love, knowing it knows exactly what to do for me to be whole, complete, perfect, and allow all these energies to flow through me. Some people just get into breathing. Some people get into a yoga place. Some people have a shower. Playing in water is fantastic because water is the most conductive. And so, only in that water, allowing the release and allowing it to calm you and allowing or surrendering to it, will it be well. But if you're not in a good place and you don't know how to ground in that water, it intensifies it. So it's not going to feel good at all. And that's where I'll see people and they'll come out and they're like gonna puke, or they're, because they've intensified it. Laying down, a lot of people instantly get outside, and depending on what area of earth we're in right now on this world, depends on how cold, warm, windy, whatever's going on, especially with the CMEs, the massive CMEs coming off the sun. Within a day we'll see that wind coming, and that's why a lot of people will see this calmness, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, and you'll watch wind change direction. So whatever you believe you can do to calm the storm. And self-care, self-love, whatever that is to you, is going to be what works for you. It could be washing the dishes in just the warm water, centering yourself into a meditative place that helps you let go of what you're staying focused in, which is the pain, and focusing into the heart or focusing on somewhere that feels good. It could be some people, going and hiding away, dropping all around them and going to sleep. Or, you're going to find that some of these ascension symptoms, that anything 3D that you do, as in taking Advil or anything that is a medication that normally would get rid of that headache or those pains or whatever, they usually don't work because it is a higher dimensional place where these energies are coming through. So nothing's going to work for you. But getting into yourself, listening to your body, and love, 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 love yourself. And so I hope this helps, Charismatic Candy. What did you find that you have done that has helped you?
Well, I do a lot of meditation, especially when I'm finding the symptoms coming on, providing I'm in a space that I can go and do the meditation. It's clearly I can't do that when I'm out and about with people. So when I'm home, I will do the grounding with meditation. Definitely when I'm drinking my water, I notice the big difference in how my day goes and what symptoms I feel more or less when I'm drinking my water. So when I'm out and about in people, I normally focus on my breathing, like you had mentioned, where it's okay, what's going on? It's like, okay, and I breathe in for 4 and then I'll breathe out for 4. And like it's easy enough to do when you're out and about in public because not everybody is going to be watching what you're doing. And if they are, then you might want to wonder what they're following you for. But just being able to get into that calm mindset is a big thing for me. And yeah, just feeling my feet flat on the ground, drinking my water again. The meditation helps. Just even putting on some softer music. It doesn't have to be like a classical music, but just something that has more of a flow, just to get me feeling more in my heart space than outside of my body is what I find helps with me.
See how trusting yourself is so important, especially because this is an individual experience that each one of you are experiencing. So there's no one way. I know that there are many people out there trapped in the guru ego that believe you have to do this, 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 and this list of stuff in order to attain something. And at the end of the day, love is all. Love is always, always the answer because love is who you are. And your way of what love is to you is going to be specific for you. And that's where you gain momentum and more strength in what you do to yourself to love yourself. What I will speak to you about is, what is your idea of loving yourself? So I will hear people say, they go and have a cigarette, or they drink a glass of wine, or they go for, and have a puff or a smoke or take a, some kind of something that alters their state because they believe that that is what love is to them. What I would like to talk to you about takes us into the next step of what love is to you. If you believe something outside of you is bringing to you that love that you believe you need, you have forgotten about you. And that vice you are giving all of your power to provide something, and you become attached. And that is the lie. That is the broken mind trap that has kept you not remembering the amazingness that you are. You are the victor because you are victory. Love is victorious. It just is. Anything that is outside of you that you believe you need is lack. That is lack of love of self. And in this most amazing time of what is going on here right now, if you choose not to love yourself because you're not ready, don't know how, refuse to even look at it, not even looking that space yet because you're busy where you are. There's no wrong answer here. It's just the level of awareness of where you are right now. No matter what, I promise you, no matter what, you will get exactly where you're wanting to go. And it's through every decision that we make that I will not say is a free will choice, because this whole distorted plane has been nothing but enslavement and entrapment and manipulation to try to steer you into whatever you want to consciously stay and believe and think in. And so it is a decision you're making, not through your free will and choice, because we know that here on this plane of existence, we were supposed to experience free will and choice. And many of you realize now that you've never had it, that there has been this distorted veil of illusions that has kept you manipulated, continually in reaction mode, continually in fight, flight, or freeze, trapped within your emotions. And the dark ones that had put this into a prison planet state knew how to manipulate a sentient being. See, when you understand that not everything has sentience in it, as in not every type of creation feels emotion. Some of them are just kind of in the observer mode and do not experience the expression of a feeling. And they were able to use that against you. And that is where we know the law of attraction, or cause and effect, comes from, is by projection and the mirror back. Projection, the mirror back. So many of these thoughts that are blown out into the consciousness through telepathy, through frequency and vibration that has a resonance, that they can project fear onto the masses, which is not fear. Fear is not real, but people started accepting that vibration and using the word fear. All it is lack. All it is distorted light. It's false. It's deceived. It's lies. It's manipulation and mongering, bullying. And so that has been so normal for all of you for so long that you naturally have made decisions based on your feeling center. It has been really, really good for so many people. It's been natural. It's been normal. And those of you that are waking up to this and breaking through this, I give you the greatest honor. I thank you so much, because it is a massive feat. You have no idea what you're breaking through to finally be able to see the illusions going on, to be able to see that deceit and deception going on. And so each and every one of you, on whatever level you're realizing it, this is massive, because number one, the ego hates being wrong. It only always wants to be right. It doesn't want the truth. It just wants to be right. And so to know that you're able to get out of the P mind and feel it in the heart brings you into the higher mind. That's the infinite intelligence. That is the discernment. And so I say to every one of you, trust yourself in your heart. Allow it to flow and guide you. Talk to your team. You have a massive amount of a team in your higher realms that are there being your greatest cheerleaders. And they're hoping that you remember to be your cheerleader as well. And that's why there's cheering continually and supporting you always without judgment, because judgment is a man-made experience. It is a low third density existence That isn't even true. It has just been a frequency that they have played with in this dense mass matter. Anyone that gets through that and breaks through that to realize how ridiculous judging anyone else or themselves is, you start to have more joy. You start to see what they were trying to project on you to keep you in this place of unhappiness, of lack. And you're able to break through that and start to experience the natural state of you, who you are. We were told, love consciousness told us that in a natural state of at least 98% of your day, it is joy. It is naturally just being, which doesn't have any explanation around it but this state of being where you're just in the witness or the observation mode and creating whatever in that moment comes to you that you are interested in dividing your attention into. Whereas right now on the 3D plane, it has been maybe 2% of your moments where you'll feel happiness or joy or bliss or euphoria. It's momentarily in a moment. And then there's the next thing that you get caught back up in that was normal to you to bring it back in to a lower dense feeling plane. Many of you right now are starting to experience more and more states of bliss. We absolutely love when we go into meditation, especially when love consciousness is guiding us, because it alters, everybody's altered in that state the moment that you're in a meditative state. You're creating brand new neurons that are awake and bright. Anyone who does brain mapping, that neuroscientists that have actually brain mapped, that have watched a human that has never ever meditated and done breath work, anything like that within their lifetime, as you know, other than from the baby stage of naturalness. And one 20-minute session that they took these captured moments of brain mapping showed 40,000 new neurons that awakened. And that's why that state of beingness is within you naturally the moment you give yourself time to just be in you. Whether that is complete silence, whether that is listening to music and being in that moment, gardening, walking, whatever you become mindfully engulfed in is a meditative place. And this is where we're getting to, is that now moment. That all that matters right now is right here, right now. And right here, right now. And love consciousness has told us that every brand new breath that you take, you are brand new. It is a brand new moment. So the greatest thing I can say to many of you through all this compression, that the more that you can laugh, that you can take things easily and effortlessly, to let go of the seriousness and be led divinely by who you are in that moment of what makes you feel good. Be there. You don't have to get home from work to do something to make you feel good. If you are in a work environment and are feeling yourself feeling low, what can you do in that moment right now? It's all in you. It's not something outside of you. It's in you now. One of the greatest things that I enjoy are people who love to crack jokes. And you can see that there's so many broken mind traps that they used purposefully so that they could stop people from having fun together. I used to absolutely enjoy, especially when I was a hairdresser, and I'd have men sitting in my chair and they would tell blonde jokes. And I loved hearing them. Number one, so that I could repeat them as well, because there's nothing funnier than a blonde telling a blonde joke. And it is people who are assured in who they are that don't take things personally. And this is part of the broken mind traps that they created in society to totally create competing and comparing, judgment, taking things personally, and having an expectation so that they could try to turn it on everybody to create divide and conquer, so that they could create separation and sadness and upset. And they made people believe, again, by using certain words to manipulate you so that they could take your happiness and free will from you. How many of you started believing they weren't allowed to tell a joke anymore because somebody was offended? Well, guess what? The greatest thing to be is you. If someone takes offense from something you are speaking, it is theirs to deal with, not yours. If at the end of the day you feel that you were using hate on others, that's going to keep mirroring back to you as well. But when you are speaking in a place of love, when you are speaking in a place of joy and fun and playfulness, it's none of your business how anyone else takes it, because they will only accept what they can from their altered state of being. I don't know how else I can say this to be so important to you that I would love for all of you who are listening this week to sit in it. Sit in being able to be you from the place of you. Not one thing else that you believe you need to be other than just you in the moment from that place of love. And love is whole. Love wants to share. It's just natural. Love is perfect and has those perfect moments. And you'll find stuff that comes from you because it just naturally comes from the state of beingness that you are. And again, anyone who is around you, they're all going to take it from a different perspective because of where they are, and they'll take it or they won't. They'll take what they need, they leave the rest behind, and that's colorful and that's great because it's all fine. It's all good. Charismatic Candy, do you have any other questions today?
I don't have any more questions, but I can say I'm recognizing a theme this week, and it's definitely going back to love and the love of self and how very important it is that we love ourselves. Like that's everything that you've been speaking today is what I'm hearing.
The more and more that you sit in who you are, it is going to stem back to two places, either what love is or what love is not. So the more you sit in being real and true to yourself, really, really sitting in the feelings you're actually feeling instead of a state and not knowing what it is, or are you ignoring it? Are you in denial? Are you lying so you don't have to sit in it, so that you don't have to do something about it in that lack? It's very, very important, because the more you love yourself, the more abundant prosperity, more you get, because more is more. More begets more. And you're grateful in that moment. And I know myself, the more I am able to love myself as the self, being able to look at myself as the self playing, as the actor or actress that I am, as the director of the play, as the writer, it becomes less serious. And it was really cool, actually, in meditation yesterday. One of the things that came up, which would be great for everyone to sit in as well, is what is responsibility? And the broken mind traps that made you believe that you had to be responsible wasn't being responsible to self, but it was somehow to be viewed that you had to be serious. That being responsible is being serious. And those are completely two different frequencies. And so, if I can say other words to you that you may be able to sit in easier with, for me, when I hear responsible, I hear accountable. And accountable meaning, yeah, it's me wearing everything that I do. Um, when I am responsible for my decision, again, that's me being accountable to whatever decision I made. And so, what is responsible to you that you want to sit in this week as well? And let's break through the idea that being responsible means you need to be serious. Because this low, dense experience has always been somehow to make you have to be serious instead of being happy. And think about or feel about the times in your life where you were having the greatest time of your life. You were still being responsible. How many people had a wedding that were drinking, dancing, celebrating, having fun? You were still having fun, and you got in a cab. You were still being responsible, not getting behind the wheel to drive. You didn't have to be serious to think about taking care of yourself or thinking out for others. So this is the broken mind traps that I would love for you guys to really start sitting in, to realize the ridiculous illusion of lack that they portray on so many things. Because love just is. Love is a natural state that we naturally flow in. And like I said, they've only allowed most people to have 2% of your pie chart of your day to be able to feel that. And the more of us that are living whole on purpose, by showing up on purpose, standing on purpose, we're not being serious. We're just showing up. We're making a decision to be us here now. And for me, it's I am love. Therefore, I am here now. Whether I'm at the grocery store, I am love. And I will honor absolutely every interaction because it is on purpose. How much more fun is this? It's not serious. I don't have to be serious with every person that I meet. Not a chance. But I'm being accountable that how I choose to show myself off to the world is on and in me. So, how does that make you feel, charismatic Candy, when you hear responsible?
It's funny because I'm kind of a little tossed with the responsibility. It makes sense what you're saying, but it's that old program of responsible is straight in your little box. You stay in that box, and that's what responsibility is. But it just opened up that whole view of what responsibility is. Again, just the simplicity of being. Like, it's so easy and so simple when one actually puts themselves out of the way and just listens to what to be.
What would you like to say in our last few seconds of our hour, charismatic Candy, to everyone listening today?
Wow. Well, I hope that everyone got what they needed out of this. And again, leave behind what you don't take. Um, really dig in and figure out what that love piece is to you. And may you feel the love for yourself that you're putting out for everybody else, because the love you give yourself is truly going to come back to you in every being that you're with.
Thank you, charismatic Candy. Thank you all because you're here. You're here listening, taking what you need, leaving the rest behind. At the end of the moment, of every moment, are you loving yourself? Are you loving others? I love you. I so do. And the more you love yourself, you can't help to just love everyone else. When you let go of judging others because there's no need for it, when you let go of an expectation because all it is a setup for failure and a sad state for it to really come through in the miraculous ways that it gets to come through, and to let go of taking it personally, because everyone else is allowed. Everyone is allowed to be whatever they want to be, to think what they think, feel what they feel. I love you all. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.